The Galactic Consortium Research Facility was a marvel of interstellar engineering, orbiting the gas giant Xeris in a distant sector of the galaxy. Its sleek, metallic spires shimmered under the nebula's light, and the faint hum of energy fields reverberated through its pristine halls. Housing species from hundreds of worlds, it was the epitome of cooperation and shared knowledge. On this particular day, however, the pristine halls buzzed with a rare, almost tangible tension. Rumors had spread that the consortium's newest research initiative involved humanity, a species as fascinating as they were enigmatic. Dr. Lortax, a respected zoologist from the aquatic world of Nerithus, floated anxiously in his containment chamber, his translucent tendrils curling in thought. The stakes were enormous. The consortium's reputation as the ultimate repository of galactic biodiversity rested on this presentation. If humanity's creatures lived up to the rumors, they would challenge everything the consortium had catalogued so far. The arrival of human zoological data had caused quite a stir among the scientific community. The consortium prided itself on cataloging the galaxy's most dangerous creatures, but whispers suggested that Earth might house life forms beyond anything the galaxy had ever encountered. Dr. Lortax, chimed a voice through the chamber's comms system, breaking his concentration. It was Professor Zerna, a biologist from the crystalline world of Nine Tau. Her shimmering, prismatic form refracted the light as she appeared on the holodisplay. The human delegation has arrived with their data. The presentation will begin shortly. Lortax's tendrils twitched nervously. Do you believe the rumors, Professor? That Earth's creatures rival even the apex predators of Calthor Prime? Zerna's crystalline facets pulsed faintly, a sign of contemplation. Humanity is unusual. Their ability to survive on a Deathworld-class planet suggests their fauna could be equally formidable. I suggest we keep an open mind. The research amphitheater was packed. Representatives from dozens of species filled the tiers, their varied forms creating a mosaic of galactic diversity. At the center of the room stood Dr. Elena Carter, humanity's foremost xenobiologist. Her confident posture and sharp gaze belied the immense pressure of representing her species to the consortium. Behind her, a massive holographic display shimmered to life, revealing a verdant image of Earth. Oceans, forests, and deserts stretched across the globe, each ecosystem teeming with life. Honored members of the consortium, Elena began, her voice steady and measured. Today I present to you a selection of Earth's fauna. While our planet is classified as a death world due to its volatile ecosystems and predatory species, it is also a testament to the resilience of life. The room grew quiet as the first holographic image appeared, a grizzly bear, its massive frame dominating the display. Its muscles rippled as it moved, and its deafening roar reverberated through the amphitheater's speakers, causing even the hardiest delegates to shudder. Its claws gleamed under simulated sunlight, adding to the display of raw power. This is Ursus arctos horribilis, commonly known as the grizzly bear, Elena explained. An apex predator of North America, capable of taking down prey several times its size. Its raw power and territorial nature make it a formidable presence in Earth's forests. A murmur spread through the audience. Lortax noted that even the Caltharian delegate, whose species boasted one of the galaxy's most fearsome predators, seemed impressed. The next creature displayed was a crocodile, its prehistoric design evoking gasps from the crowd. Crocodilus porosus, or the saltwater crocodile, Elena continued. A creature older than most of the species in this room. It is a perfect ambush predator with the strongest bite force of any living animal on Earth. It has remained virtually unchanged for millions of years because it has never needed to evolve further. A delegate from the avian-like Threxus species leaned toward Zerna. How do humans coexist with such creatures? He whispered, his feathers quivering in apprehension. Zerna's crystalline surface flickered. Coexistence seems relative. They likely maintain boundaries or use their technology to mitigate risks. Elena, as if sensing the undercurrent of doubt, squared her shoulders and met the gaze of the assembled delegates. Her voice carried a calm authority, but her words were laced with conviction, commanding attention even from the most skeptical members. It's true that some of Earth's creatures are dangerous. But humanity has thrived by understanding and respecting these animals, adapting to their environments rather than attempting to dominate them. As the presentation progressed, the atmosphere grew increasingly charged. Each new species seemed more formidable than the last. A hologram of a pack of wolves drew admiration for their cooperative hunting strategies, while the image of a shark slicing through the water made even the aquatic Nerithans uneasy. But it was the reveal of Earth's smallest predators that caused the greatest stir. The screen displayed a mosquito, its delicate wings and needle-like proboscis magnified to reveal its intricate anatomy. Lortax's tendrils coiled tightly, a mixture of confusion and alarm rippling through him. "This is Aedes aegypti, a mosquito," Elena said. "Though small, it is responsible for more human deaths than any other creature on Earth. It transmits diseases such as malaria, dengue, and Zika, making it a relentless and deadly adversary." The room erupted in disbelief. Delegates exchanged incredulous glances. A creature so small yet so lethal? It defied all expectations. "How is this possible?" demanded a delegate from the armored Drexel species, whose own Deathworld-class planet was known for its colossal predators. "Surely such a being could be eradicated?" Elena sighed. "Humanity has made great strides in combating mosquito-borne diseases, but their sheer numbers and adaptability make complete eradication difficult. They are a reminder that danger comes in all forms, not just size." The final entry in Elena's presentation was met with an anticipatory silence. The hologram shifted to display a human figure, clad in survival gear, standing atop a mountain peak. "And this," Elena said, "is Homo sapiens. Ourselves?" The audience's reaction was immediate and varied. A Drexel delegate, encased in his armored exoskeleton, emitted a low mechanical hiss of skepticism, while a Threxus representative tilted forward, his feathered crest twitching with curiosity. Tension rippled through the amphitheater as whispers of disbelief and awe spread among the delegates. "Humans are perhaps Earth's most adaptable and dangerous species," Elena continued. "We lack the physical advantages of many predators. No claws, no fangs, no venom. Yet we have thrived through ingenuity, cooperation, and an unyielding will to survive." The hologram displayed humans in various environments, hunting in the frozen tundra, navigating dense jungles, and building civilizations atop mountains and deserts. "We are not merely survivors of our death world," Elena said. "We are its stewards and its apex predator. And it is through understanding the creatures we share it with that we have become who we are." As the presentation concluded, the room sat in stunned silence. Delegates who had scoffed at humanity's inclusion in the consortium now regarded Elena with a mix of respect and unease. Dr. Lortax floated closer to Zerna, his tendrils quivering. "They are not just a species. They are a force of nature." Zerna's crystalline form refracted the room's light into a faint rainbow. "Indeed, Dr. Lortax. Perhaps we have underestimated them." The amphitheater remained abuzz long after Dr. Elena Carter concluded her presentation. Delegates lingered in clusters, their conversations a mixture of disbelief and fascination. For many, it wasn't the individual creatures that haunted their thoughts, but the sum of Earth's ecosystem, an intricate web of deadly predators, relentless survival, and unparalleled adaptability. Humanity had grown up in a crucible of danger that shaped them into unparalleled survivors, masters of adaptation who could turn nature's fiercest challenges into opportunities. Dr. Lortax, still floating beside Professor Zerna, let out a low hum of contemplation. "Their resilience, their ability to endure, it's unsettling." Zerna's crystalline facets flickered. "Not just endure, Dr. Lortax. They thrive. They dominate. It's as if they were forged by the planet itself to be its ultimate weapon." As if on cue, a soft chime echoed through the amphitheater, signaling the start of the panel discussion. Delegates returned to their seats as a holographic moderator materialized at the center of the room. The translucent figure, designed to be neutral and devoid of cultural bias, gestured toward Elena, who remained poised at her station. "Dr. Carter," the moderator began, "the consortium has reviewed thousands of death worlds, yet Earth stands out due to its unique combination of biological threats. Many delegates are curious about how a species with no inherent physical advantages managed to thrive in such conditions. Could you elaborate on how humanity adapted to such circumstances?" Elena's lips curved into a small, confident smile. "Of course, humanity's evolution was shaped by necessity. Early humans were not the strongest or the fastest creatures on Earth, but they were resourceful. Our ancestors learned to harness tools, collaborate in groups, and adapt to diverse environments. This adaptability became our greatest weapon. It allowed us to face threats head-on, whether they came from predators, disease, or the planet itself." The holographic display shifted, showing images of ancient human tools, shelters, and early settlements. Delegates leaned forward, intrigued by the timeline of human ingenuity. "In essence," Elena continued, "we became the ultimate generalists. Our species developed the ability to survive almost anywhere, a trait few species in the galaxy share. A Drexel delegate, his armored frame looming large, raised a clawed hand. Dr. Carter, if humanity has overcome its planet's challenges, why do these deadly creatures still exist? Why not eliminate them entirely? Elena's expression turned serious. Because Earth's creatures are not just threats, they are vital to the balance of our ecosystems. Predators regulate prey populations, pollinators sustain plant life, and even mosquitoes, as dangerous as they are, play a role in the food chain. Humanity's strength lies in our ability to coexist with these creatures, not erase them. The room fell silent, the weight of her words sinking in. Even the Drexel delegate's rigid posture softened as he considered her explanation. From the shadows of the amphitheater, an unexpected voice broke the silence. And yet, coexistence often leads to conflict, does it not? All eyes turned toward the Rither delegate, Ambassador Zyron Vrath. His serpentine form coiled elegantly in his seat, his piercing eyes fixed on Elena. Your presentation highlights humanity's ingenuity and adaptability, Dr. Carter, Vrath said, his tone laced with skepticism. His serpentine body coiled tighter, and his piercing eyes narrowed as if dissecting her every word. But I cannot help but wonder, does your species' dominance come at the expense of others? Elena met his gaze without flinching. Humanity's history is complex, Ambassador Vrath. We have made mistakes as all species do. Yet our growth stems from those errors, leading to a deeper understanding of coexistence. Today we strive to balance our needs with those of the ecosystems we inhabit. It is not always perfect, but it is our goal. Vrath's tongue flicked out, a gesture of amusement. A noble sentiment. Yet, as you describe it, humans sound less like stewards and more like conquerors. The tension in the room was palpable. Delegates exchanged wary glances, uncertain of how Elena would respond. Conquerors? Elena repeated, her voice calm but firm. Perhaps you misunderstand, Ambassador. Humanity's ability to adapt and thrive is not born of a desire to conquer, but to survive. Earth taught us that survival often requires cooperation, not domination. It is a lesson we bring to the consortium. The discussion continued, with questions probing deeper into Earth's biodiversity and humanity's place within it. As the panel progressed, Elena noted that some delegates, including Zerna and Lortax, had shifted from skepticism to genuine curiosity. Others, like Vrath, remained guarded, their doubts fueled by a mixture of intrigue and unease. During a brief recess, Zerna approached Elena, her crystalline form shimmering in the amphitheater's light. Dr. Carter, may I ask you something candidly? Of course, Elena replied, her tone warm. Your presentation was impressive, Zerna began. But does humanity's survival on such a volatile planet come from an inherent advantage, or do you attribute it purely to chance? Elena's smile was thoughtful. Luck played a part, certainly. But survival on Earth required more than chance. It demanded creativity, resilience, and an understanding of our place in the natural order. Those traits are what define humanity, not just our biology. Zerna's facets pulsed in contemplation. A compelling answer. Perhaps there is much we can learn from your species after all. As Zerna moved away, Elena allowed herself a brief moment of relief. The day was far from over, but she had begun to chip away at the barriers of doubt surrounding humanity. Unbeknownst to the delegates, a quiet transmission rippled through the consortium's security network. Its encrypted content suggested more than simple espionage, a calculated move within a larger scheme that could destabilize the fragile balance of interstellar politics. It originated from a concealed relay station within the amphitheater and was directed toward an unknown location. The content of the transmission was encrypted, but its timing was no coincidence. In the shadows of the council chambers, a figure watched the proceedings with calculating eyes. They tapped a clawed finger against the armrest of their seat, a faint smile playing on their lips. Earth, they murmured to themselves. A world of contradictions. A cradle of life that forges both harmony and chaos. Let's see if your resilience can withstand what the galaxy has in store and whether your strength is as boundless as it seems. The quiet hum of the amphitheater's machinery was replaced by a rising tension as the panel discussion resumed. Delegates settled into their seats, their expressions ranging from cautious curiosity to outright skepticism. Dr. Elena Carter stood at her station, her composure unwavering despite the undercurrent of unease among the attendees. Earth had made its case, but doubts lingered, and one misstep could unravel the fragile trust she had begun to build. The holographic moderator reappeared, its neutral tone cutting through the murmurs. The floor is now open for direct questions to Dr. Carter regarding Earth's biodiversity and its implications for interstellar cooperation. Delegates, please state your name and affiliation before proceeding. A towering figure from the armored Drexel species rose first. His plated exoskeleton gleamed under the amphitheater's lights, and his voice carried a metallic resonance. Commander Dravix of the Drexel Enclave. Dr. Carter, you speak of coexistence, yet your planet is a nexus of predation and survival. How can a world so defined by conflict offer anything to the consortium beyond chaos? Elena inclined her head, acknowledging the weight of the question. Commander Dravix, Earth's ecosystems are indeed marked by conflict, but they are also defined by balance. Predation and survival are not inherently chaotic. They are mechanisms that sustain life. What humanity offers is the understanding that harmony can emerge from adversity. It is this balance that has allowed us to thrive, and it is a principle we bring to the consortium. Dravix's plated head tilted slightly, his mandibles clicking in thought. Before he could reply, another delegate stood. This time, it was Zerna of the Nine Tal, her crystalline form shimmering as she addressed Elena. Dr. Carter, Zerna began, your explanation is compelling, but I must ask, how does humanity reconcile its role as both predator and steward? How do you balance the duality of your existence without compromising either? Elena's expression softened, her tone introspective. That duality is at the heart of who we are. We have learned to embrace our role as predators when necessary, but also to act as stewards to ensure the survival of the systems we depend on. It is not a perfect balance, but it is one we constantly strive to achieve through innovation, cooperation, and respect for the natural world. The questions continued, each one peeling back another layer of Earth's complexity. A delegate from the avian Threxus species raised concerns about humanity's history of environmental exploitation, while a representative from the aquatic Narathans questioned the ethical implications of managing Earth's ecosystems. Elena addressed each inquiry with measured precision, her responses blending scientific insight with a deep understanding of humanity's flaws and aspirations. Gradually, the room's atmosphere shifted. The skepticism that had defined the early discussions began to wane, replaced by a tentative curiosity. Then came the unexpected interruption. The amphitheater's lights dimmed momentarily, and a faint ripple of static passed through the holographic display. A new figure materialized in the center of the room, their form cloaked in shadow. Gasps erupted from the delegates as the consortium's security personnel surged forward, weapons drawn. Hold your fire, the figure's voice commanded, resonant and authoritative. They stepped into the light, revealing a tall humanoid form clad in intricate armor adorned with sigils unfamiliar to any known species. I am Envoy Kale, a representative of the Anshar Dominion. I come with an urgent message. The name sent a ripple of shock through the assembly. The Anshar Dominion was a reclusive power, rarely engaging with the consortium or its affairs. Their presence here was unprecedented. The High Chancellor's luminous form shimmered above the gathering. Envoy Kale, your arrival is unexpected. What matter brings you to this assembly unannounced? Kale's gaze swept over the room, lingering briefly on Elena. I come with information that concerns Earth and its role in the galaxy. Your discussions about humanity's resilience and adaptability are not mere academic exercises. They are warnings. A tense silence filled the amphitheater. Kale continued, his voice steady. The Anshar Dominion has observed humanity from afar. Your species has faced extinction more times than any other we have encountered, yet you persist. You do not merely survive, you transform adversity into strength. But this tenacity comes with a cost. Elena's eyes narrowed. What cost do you speak of, Envoy Kale? Kale's expression darkened. Your resilience has made you a target. Forces within the galaxy view humanity not as partners but as threats. They fear what you represent. A species that cannot be subdued, a force that adapts faster than it can be contained. The conspiracy against Earth runs deeper than you realize. The amphitheater erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted over one another, their voices a cacophony of alarm and confusion. The High Chancellor's voice cut through the din, restoring order. Envoy Kale, these are grave accusations. If you possess evidence, it must be presented now. Kale extended a hand, and a glowing orb materialized above his palm. The orb projected a series of images and data streams into the air. The holograms displayed intercepted communications, tactical schematics, and encoded transmissions, all pointing to a coordinated effort to destabilize Earth's influence within the consortium. Elena stepped forward, her voice firm. Who is behind this conspiracy? Kale hesitated, his gaze meeting hers. The Rither Dominion leads the effort, but they are not alone. Several factions within the consortium have aligned with them, each seeking to curtail humanity's rise. They fear your potential, Dr. Carter. They fear what Earth might become. The revelation sent a chill through the room. Elena turned to the High Chancellor. If this is true, the consortium must act. To allow such treachery to fester would undermine everything this alliance stands for. The High Chancellor's light dimmed slightly, a sign of deep contemplation. These accusations are serious. An emergency session will be convened to assess the evidence and determine our course of action. Until then, Envoy Kale, you are under the protection of the consortium. Dr. Carter, you will remain to advise on this matter. As the assembly dispersed, Elena felt the weight of the moment settle on her shoulders. The trust she had worked so hard to build now balanced on a knife's edge. The stakes had never been higher, and Earth's future within the galaxy hung in the balance. The emergency session convened in the Grand Chamber of the Concord Council, a space reserved for the most critical decisions in the galaxy. Rows of delegates filled the tiers, their expressions a mixture of apprehension and determination. At the center of the room stood Dr. Elena Carter, Envoy Kale, and the High Chancellor, their presence underscoring the gravity of the moment. Envoy Kale, the High Chancellor began, you have presented alarming evidence of a conspiracy aimed at undermining humanity. Before we proceed, the Council must understand the full scope of this threat. Speak. Kale's armor gleamed under the chamber's lights as he stepped forward, his voice steady and resonant, carrying a calm authority that commanded the attention of every delegate in the room. The data I have provided details not only the Rither Dominion's involvement but also implicates factions from the Velthran Syndicate and the Orathan Compact. Their fear of humanity stems from your unparalleled adaptability and capacity for rapid advancement. They view Earth not as a partner but as an uncontrollable force. A murmur rippled through the chamber and Elena's jaw tightened. Why now? What prompted this coalition to act? Kale turned to her, his expression grim. Your recent technological strides, particularly in AI breakthroughs like sentient quantum networks and terraforming techniques capable of reviving desolate planets, have made them believe humanity is on the verge of outpacing even the most advanced civilizations in the consortium. They see your potential not as an asset, but as a threat to their hegemony. Elena's gaze swept the room. If we allow this conspiracy to persist, it will not only endanger Earth but destabilize the entire Concord. This alliance was built on trust and cooperation. We cannot let fear dictate our actions. The High Chancellor raised a luminous appendage calling for silence. Envoy Kale, does your evidence point to immediate actions planned against Earth? Kale nodded. Yes. Sabotage of your orbital defense systems, economic disruption through trade embargoes, and coordinated misinformation campaigns to isolate humanity within the Concord. These efforts are already underway. The room erupted into heated debate. Some delegates called for immediate sanctions against the implicated factions, arguing that swift punitive measures were essential to preserve the Concord's integrity. Others, however, urged caution, warning that hasty actions might alienate neutral parties and deepen existing divisions within the alliance. Heated exchanges filled the chamber, each voice carrying the weight of their respective civilizations' interests and fears. Amid the chaos, Vrath of the Rither Dominion stood, his serpentine form radiating indignation. These accusations are baseless, Vrath hissed, his eyes narrowing. The Rither Dominion has always acted in the best interests of the Concord. To suggest otherwise is an insult to our honor. Kale's voice cut through the noise like a blade. Honor? He activated his holographic device, projecting intercepted communications bearing the Rither's encryption codes. The messages detailed plans for disabling Earth's key infrastructures. Your honor is laid bare, Ambassador Vrath. Vrath's coils tightened, but he remained silent as the evidence hung in the air. The High Chancellor's glow dimmed slightly, a sign of deep contemplation. The Council must deliberate on these findings. But I caution all present, the strength of the Concord lies in its unity. We cannot afford division. As the Council adjourned for deliberation, Elena joined Kale in a side chamber. The weight of the revelations pressed heavily on her, but she refused to let it show. Why did you come forward, Kale? She asked. The Anshar Dominion has stayed out of Concord affairs for centuries. Why now? Kale's gaze was steady. Because humanity's fate will determine the galaxy's future. You are at a crossroads, Dr. Carter. Your resilience and ingenuity could either unite the Concord or unravel it. The Anshar Dominion cannot ignore that. Elena studied him, searching for any hint of ulterior motives. And what does the Anshar Dominion stand to gain from this? Kale's expression softened slightly. Perhaps we see a reflection of ourselves in you. Once we too were seen as a threat, an outlier. Long ago, when the Anshar Dominion was first rising, we faced a coalition that sought to extinguish us before we could grow. We endured, we innovated, and we proved our worth. Now we offer you the same chance. Back in the council chamber, the delegates reconvened. The High Chancellor's light brightened, signaling the decision. After careful deliberation, the Concord Council has reached a resolution, the Chancellor announced. The conspirators' actions are a betrayal of our principles. The Rither Dominion, Veltherin Syndicate, and Orathan Compact will be subject to immediate investigation, and their privileges within the Concord will be suspended pending the outcome. Elena's shoulders relaxed slightly, but the Chancellor wasn't finished. Furthermore, Earth will be granted full membership in the Concord, with all rights and protections afforded to its members. Humanity has proven its commitment to the principles of this alliance and its ability to contribute to our shared future. Elena's heart swelled with pride as a ripple of murmured approval swept through the chamber. Delegates exchanged nods and quiet words, their earlier skepticism now replaced by a sense of reluctant admiration. A wave of relief and pride washed over Elena, but she knew this was just the beginning. Earth's position in the galaxy was no longer one of isolation but integration, and with it came both opportunity and responsibility. As the council session ended, Elena stepped out into the atrium, where Zerna and Lortax waited. "Congratulations, Dr. Carter," Zerna said, her crystalline form refracting the light into faint rainbows. "Humanity's resilience is no longer a question but a fact." Lortax floated closer, his tendrils curling in thought. "You have secured Earth's place in the Concord, but the path ahead will not be easy. The conspirators will not vanish quietly." Elena nodded. "I know. But humanity has faced greater challenges before. We will rise to meet this one as well." In the shadows of the atrium, Kale watched the exchange. His lips curved into a faint smile before he turned and disappeared into the crowd. Humanity's story within the galaxy was just beginning, and the Anshar Dominion would be watching closely. Above them all, the stars burned brightly, a reminder of the vast unknown that lay ahead.